All right. So the first part we're gonna do is our standing part. So if you're next to something that you can kind of like hold on to, that would help. You don't necessarily have to, but if you want to have that extra like help balance wise, like a doorway or a wall or something, just to kind of put your hand out if you need it. You might not even need it when we do it. So the first two we're gonna do is two standing movements. The first one we've done before is our standing hip cars. Okay, so everybody's gonna stand up. So like I said, if you want to use a doorway or a wall or something, you could do that. If you're just kind of standing in the middle of the room, that's fine too. Just try to keep your balance. But we're gonna go with the outside leg, and we're gonna do our slow, controlled, articular rotations, right? So I'm gonna start with that outside leg. I'm gonna lift up. So we're gonna go backwards. So I'm gonna lift my knee up first, and then I'm gonna try to rotate, go very, very slowly with my hip, try to get it as circular as possible, and then I'll lower down and then finish at the bottom, okay? So we're gonna do 5 of these on each side. So very slow, very controlled. Knee comes up, rotate out as far as we can go comfortably, and then turn and come back to that center position. So at the top, right, we should feel kind of that tension in my hip. Really, really take your time, go nice and slow, and try to complete that circle. So 5 reps for the hip cars. And then we're gonna turn over or turn around and do the same thing on the other side. So 5 again. We're gonna go backwards, right? So knee comes up, then we start to turn, rotate the hip, and then finish back at that starting position. So up, leg comes out, rotate, and then back up. 5 times. Once we do our 5, we're gonna go into a standing straddle, okay? We're gonna do this for a minute. So the standing straddle, if you're on a mat, you're gonna put your feet out as wide as possible, okay? So way, way wider than your shoulders. Your head is basically gonna drop down. I'm gonna have my hands flat up against the floor, and we're just gonna sit in that bottom position for a minute, okay? So feet out super wide. I got my watch. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hands come all the way down. My head is tucked. Legs are straight. And I'm just gonna drop down and hang out at the bottom. You're gonna feel your hamstrings start to stretch, quads, glutes. And just breathe. Stay nice and relaxed. We're gonna do a lot of static stretching. So this is considered our static stretch. If you haven't done mobility with me yet, a lot of these moves you're gonna be holding for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute, even 90 seconds, okay? So a couple of them today are gonna be 90 seconds. So take that into consideration. We got 15 more seconds here. Try to get as low as we can. 3, 2, 1, and relax. So we're gonna come back up, nice and easy, and we're gonna head back down to the ground. So our first group is basically going to be kneeling things. So for this particular one, we're gonna be doing stabilization movements or more dynamically focused movements. So the first part of this is going to be pretty simple. We're going to do our night stretch, right? So if you've done this one before, you'll remember that night stretch. And it's basically just a half kneeling position, right? So we're going to do a half kneel position up into our down dog. So I'll show you what that's going to look like. So we're going to set ourselves up on our hands and knees first. And then I'm going to bring 1 foot forward, 1 foot behind. If you want to use actually no, you can't use the mat for this because we're going to be moving our legs. So half kneeling position. So the night stretch is literally just the lean forward, right? The front foot stays flat, but I'm leaning inward so that my knees trying to get at least to my toes or slightly in front of my toes, pressing here, and then you relax, okay? So that's the night stretch by itself. So what we're gonna do is just the night stretch to start. We're gonna go for a minute. You're gonna come in and we're gonna hold it, okay? So foot stays flat. The other foot should be flat up against the floor behind me, and I'm just gonna press inward and hold. All right, we're gonna do a minute on each side. So everybody set yourself up if you're not already there. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. So you're gonna press yourself inward. You could use your hands to kind of brace on top of your knee. You may feel a little bit of stretch in your ankle, which is good, right? As long as you keep that foot flat. So don't kind of turn it into this where I kind of lift my toe up or lift my heel up. So keep that foot as flat as possible and lean inward, right? We want to press. You're going to feel those hips start to open up. 3, 2, 1. We'll do 30 seconds on these because we're going to go into another one. So I'm going to switch. Same thing on the other side. Foot forward, chest up nice and tall. And then I'm going to press inward and go 30 seconds. We'll do 30 seconds for this. And then we'll go into the second part of the night stretch.
You're listening to Chew Your Mind Radio.
10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Bring it back. Now we're going to go back to that first side. So back to that half kneel position on the first side. Now from here, we're going to do our night stretch. So I'm going to press inward and then I'm going to push back into my down dog position. Okay. So I'll show you what this looks like. So starting from that main starting stretch, right? I'm going to lean inward, but now as I lean in, I'm going to put my hands down, right? So I'm pressing in, my hands come down. I'm going to lift up onto my back toe to that kind of spider lunge position. Then I'm going to step back and press into my down dog, okay? We're going to do one side, so we're going to keep all the reps on one side. And then I'm going to step back in, knee comes down, and then relax, okay? So that counts as 1. So it's lean in, hands down, foot comes back into the down dog. Then I step back in, foot down, and then up tall, okay? So we're gonna do, let's do 6 of these on the first side. So if your right leg is forward, that right leg is always gonna be the one that's going back, okay? Everybody got it? Give me thumbs. Thumbs up. Okay. All right, here we go. We're gonna do 6 of them. So at your own speed, we're gonna lean inward. So lean forward, hand comes down, step the foot back, press into the down dog, hold for like a second or 2, and then step back forward, knee down, and then back to that upright position. Okay, that's 1 rep. And then again, lean forward, foot back, down dog, foot forward, and then relax. Okay, 6 total. So once you've done 6 on your first side, we're gonna switch, and now we'll do the same thing on the opposite. So foot forward, same exact motion, lean forward, hands come down, lift into the down dog, and then foot back down and forward, okay? So 6 reps on that. I'm gonna try to keep an eye on you guys just to see who's done when. once we're done,
How many rounds?
just once, just 6 and 6. 6 and 6. Trying to see if everybody's done. They look like they're done. Good. All right, perfect. So that's the first part, right? We're going to go into the more dynamic based stuff. So we're going to do a bird dog, okay? We're going to do a couple different variations of our bird dog. Don't hurt those dogs, Amy. So this I basically call a bird dog series, okay? So I'm going to show you the first part, and then we'll just basically build on top of the first part. So part 1, regular bird dog, except we're going to be doing a static hold. So all I'm going to be doing, have my hands down, my back is nice and flat, and I'm going to lift one leg and press straight out, okay? Now I want you to flex your foot, so don't point, right? I don't want you to point behind you. I want you to flex so that your heel is pushing to a wall or window or wherever you are, right? And your back is gonna stay nice and flat. So we don't wanna go into here, right? Don't kick up in the air. I want you to go straight back. So we wanna make as much of a straight line with our body as possible. You're gonna hold that side for 30 seconds. Then we'll switch, you'll go directly into the second leg, 30-second hold. After the 2 legs, now we're gonna go into the arm and the leg. So it'll go alternating just like we do the stretch in class. You're gonna lift up, opposite arm, opposite leg. You're gonna hold for 30 seconds. Then you'll switch, hold for 30 seconds. Then the last one is the 3D bird dog, okay? We've done this a couple times, but basically now I'm gonna be rotating in my bird dog position. So I'm gonna go opposite arm, opposite leg, and then I'm gonna turn out with my leg and my arm, and then come back in, and then reset. So I'll show that from the side, that might be easier to see. So we come out, then you rotate, and then we come back in, and then relax, okay? So those are the 3 parts. Leg first, 30-30, then arm and leg, 30-30, and then 3D, 30-30, okay? So you'll keep one side for the 3D. So you'll pick just one arm and one leg to do it with for 30 seconds, and then you'll alternate. Okay, make sense? Thumbs up? Okay. All right, so everybody set themselves up. Hands and knees. Just the leg is first. Remember, back flat. I actually want to turn to the side. I like how that looks a little better. So, arms and legs straight. Leg is first. Whatever one you want to do. Here we go. 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Lift up and hold. Straight back. Straight leg. Push away from the floor, right? So active shoulders. So arms locked out. Holding for 30. Keep your balance, right? Try to look at one thing. Don't look around too much. That's what tends to make people fall. Three, 2, 1. Switch directly into the next leg. So you might just have to shift that weight a little bit. Heel is pressing up towards the back wall or wherever you are in your room. Back and leg are perfectly straight. 10 seconds, we'll go directly into the arm and the leg. Arm and the leg. 3, 2, 1, switch. Arm and leg. Hold for 30. Straight line. Remember to focus on pressing with the hand that's on the floor, right? Keep that arm locked out the whole time. 10 seconds. Three, 2, 1, and switch. Same thing. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Straight line. 10 seconds till our 3D. Remember, stay on one side for the 3D. 3, 2, 1. Back to that starting side. Press out. Rotate. Back in and in. Press out. Rotate. In. Reset. Press. Rotate. In. Press. Slow and controlled, guys. 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. Same thing. You might find that one side is harder. That tends to happen anytime we do single-sided things. Ten more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Good job. We should be a little warm from that, right? I would say yes. Good. So, we're gonna stay on the ground, obviously on our mats. We're gonna do 2 movements. That's basically, I mean, you could grab a quick drink right now if you want it. We're gonna do 2 front-facing movements where they kind of coincide with each other. The first one is gonna be our prayer, right? So think of this as a shoulder, upper back stretch. It's kind of like the child's pose, but they call it a prayer. So it's basically the same idea. We're gonna set up, still on our hands and knees. Feet are gonna be flat up against the ground. I'm gonna push my butt back towards my heels. I'm gonna bring my arms straight in front of my body, and I'm gonna drop my head down, basically till I'm touching the ground, all the way to the floor, and my arms are locked out. Okay, so that's our prayer. We're gonna hold it for a minute. Nothing fancy. Okay, so when you're ready, set yourself up, clock is on. Arms are straight, drop your head. Just breathe in this position. If you actively try to push down, you'll feel your shoulder blades engage a little bit more. Well, I can't do it right now, so.
You want me to give you the phone?
No.
I'll put it right there.
No, because it's, no. So you're gonna have to wait. You can do something else and I'll do it afterward.
What am I gonna do with it?
You got a bunch of other games you could play.
We can't play them together.
20 seconds. That's okay. You can still talk to each other.
Oh, I have.
3, 2, 1. Relax. We're gonna come up. So back to the hands and knees. From here, we're gonna go into our seal and sphinx stretch. Okay, we're gonna alternate between the two. So the first one, which is the easier one, is gonna be the sphinx position. So I'm gonna come down. My legs are gonna be flat up against the floor, and I'm gonna be resting basically on my elbows, and my hands are gonna stay flat. Okay, so this is kind of a passive position. We didn't really kind of activate anything, but our goal with this being in this down position is to try to press up, right? So I'm trying to kind of push my torso back, still keeping my arms and my forearms and my hands down, pressed up against the floor, okay? Your hips and your butt and everything should stay down. So we'll do this one for 30 seconds, then we're gonna lift up into the seal position, which is a little bit harder and it's a lot higher, right? So depending on your flexibility, you're gonna have to bring your hands a little closer, right? Still keep them flat, and then I'm gonna push up and go all the way straight. So my thighs are still in contact with the floor. So my hips come off a little bit, which is okay, but don't kind of lift up too high. So keep your hips down as much as possible. All right, we're gonna do 30 seconds for the Sphinx position, and we're gonna do a minute for the seal. I really like that seal one. Okay, so we got a minute 30 of work on this one. So 30 seconds in our starting Sphinx position. 3, 2, 1, clock is on. So arms are flat, elbows are flat up against, but I'm actively kind of pressing upward. So you shouldn't be in that kind of down, relaxed position. Actively try to push and press. Think about pinching your shoulder blades together. That way you'll definitely be able to feel it from there. We got 10 more seconds here. Then we're gonna go into our full minute of the seal position. 3, 2, 1. Reset your hands. Lift yourself up. Arms are straight. Hips slightly off the floor. Quads and everything should still be touching. And you wanna press, right? Try to push. Don't shrug your shoulders up, so don't be in that kind of tight position at the top. Try to drop the shoulders down. We got 30 more seconds here. Ten seconds. Three, 2, 1, and rest. Good. So you can kind of lift yourself back up. You can go into that prayer position just for a second if you want to kind of relieve the pressure from your back, holding that seal. And then we'll lift and reset ourselves from here. So take a quick sip if you need it. We're going to go onto our butts. So we're going to sit down flat. Our first position for this is going to be our V-sit, okay? So you're basically going to sit, legs are going to open as wide as we can hold them. And we're going to do our positional holds from this position here, right? I can't do a split. My legs don't really open very wide. So depending on your flexibility, will determine how much of a stretch you feel. I mean, either way, you'll still feel a big stretch going through side to side, okay? So for our V-sit reaches, we're going to start one side, middle, other side, back to middle, back to the other side, okay? So we're going to do everything twice, right? 3. Yeah. So we're going to basically go back and forth. Everything's going to be 30 seconds. So for the first one, depending on your flexibility, you can hold your calf muscle, you can hold your ankle. If you can reach it, you can hold your toe or your foot. That's all purely just your choice and how far you can actually reach down. But I want you to at least be reaching, right? Trying to reach for something. When we're reaching and when we're holding, I want you guys to drop your head, kind of tuck it down in between your arms, or just kind of tuck your chin. So don't like try to worry about looking up or looking straight even. Try to kind of tuck your head and look downward, okay? We'll go 30 seconds on the first leg, 30 seconds center, 30 seconds on the second leg, then we'll go back, and then back, okay? All right, here we go. Clock starting, 3, 2, 1, go ahead. So whatever distance you are comfortable with, relax the head between the arms, and we're gonna sit. Three, 2, 1, center. So walk your hands out as far as you can. Tuck that head in between the arms and hold it. 3, 2, 1. Again, opposite side. Grab as far as you're comfortable. Tuck the head. Three, two, one. Come back, center. We'll finish off here so we don't do multiple times with the leg, but we're gonna finish in the center. Same thing, 30 seconds. Three, two, one, and rest. Come on up. Perfect. So now we get into the fun stuff. We're like the Bird Dog series. We're gonna do another dynamic motion series, right? This one we've definitely done in class. This is the 90-90 hip stretch, or the 90-90 hip extension stuff. We have 3 different parts to it. So just like the Bird Dog stuff, we're basically gonna build from the starting position into the second and the third, okay? So this is always a fun one because everybody tends to move around when they're doing this. But 90-90 hip stretch, both legs bending at our 90-degree angle or somewhere around 90 degrees. Front leg is bent in front of me, back leg or other leg is bent basically behind me. So the first part of this, we're gonna start, I'm just gonna use my mat because it's easy and I can just go side to side. You're gonna be doing, I think I have this one for reps. I think it's 3 in each direction. So we're gonna be doing 6 total. So the way I always start this, you have 2 goals. The first goal is to keep your feet touching the floor the whole time. Second goal, well, to keep your feet touching the floor the whole time and your butt touching the floor the whole time. And the second goal is to not have to use your hands, right? So we want to be able to do this without the assistance of our hand, but if you need your hand, then use it, okay? But that's just the ultimate goal as far as this. So to start our motion, I usually start with the leg that's kind of the back leg in this position, whereas I'll lift first, right? So I start with this one first, and then I just kind of rotate and let the other follow. And then I finish back in that same position, but now facing the other direction, okay? Both feet stayed on the ground, my butt stayed on the ground, I didn't use my hands, okay? Slow, take your time, because at the top, so basically when you're here, this tends to be a pretty tough stretch for a lot of people, and then finishing with that transition as they get to the other side, okay? So if you're on a mat, this actually is kind of hard to do with a mat because it's kind of sticky. But either way, we're going to do 6 total, okay? So we're going to start with this one first, right off the bat. So set yourself up, 90-90 position with the knees. You got to do 3 in each direction, okay? So you're just basically going back and forth. So up and over, both legs finish, touch the ground. That's 1. Up and over, finish, touch the ground. You may find yourself moving around a lot. It happens. That's just the nature of this stretch. But keep your butt touching the ground and keep your feet in contact with the floor. Side to side. Now, after our 6, we're now going to add an element, right? So we're still going to continue with that 90-90, but now I'm going to add a hip extension. So I'm going to start at wherever I begin with, right? So pick a side to start with. You're going to do your motion to move to the other side. So I'm going to go to the other side. But now once I get to the bottom, I'm going to press and lift myself up, right? So I'm kind of pushing up and finishing in a hip extended motion. And then I'll sit back down, still no hands, rotate to the other side, and then lift and drive myself up. And then butt back down, switch, and then drive up. So you might need a little momentum, right? Really kind of pop yourself up as you get to that bottom position. Lift and drive. So same thing, 6 of those. 3 in each direction. Since it looks like everybody's already started, keep going. 3 in each. Because we're going to add one more piece to this. Good. Now, from our same starting position again, this is the next compound on top of the hip extension. So we're going to do the hip extension and then basically finish in a lunge position, okay? So obviously I'm going to show you what it's going to look like, and we're going to take it piece by piece, but it's just building on top of each other. So we go from our starting position. So I'm going to cross, right? I'm going to come up. I'm going to do my hip extension, lift, right? Whoop, don't fall over. And then I'm going to swing my back leg and finish here, okay? So swinging the back leg forward and then finishing in this lunge position. So now to get back down, I got to swing my leg back, drop my butt to the floor, switch, up, and then swing my leg forward, okay? So same as the others, we're gonna do 6. So 3 in each direction. Rotate, hip extension, and then swing the foot up, okay? Obviously, if you need to use your hands for assistance, go ahead. But this is so dominant on the hips, right? This is all hip drive to get yourself up. Good job, guys. Finish off on those 6 reps. Good, perfect, perfect. One step at a time. Good, so your hips should be like super warm right now from doing all that. 100%.
I noticed from doing this for a few weeks now that movement is getting much easier.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
working.
You see how that happens? Man, it's funny how stuff like that works. Okay. So we're going to take a second. The next 2 are actually the hardest of the 2 movements that we're going to do because we're close. We got enough time to finish. So we're going to be doing a half. They call it a half kneeling quad. It's really not kneeling. It's kind of kneeling. But we're going to do a half saddle. That's what I like to call it. And a full saddle. Okay. This is where you may want to have your pillow or your towel to put under your butt, because this is a very intense position to get into and to stay in. Okay. It is a quad dominant stretch. So we're all going to come back. We're going to get our towel, and you're basically going to sit down on top of the towel first. And then I want you to set yourself up in like a hurdle stretch. So think one leg is going to be straight out in front of me, and the other leg is bent out to the side like we just did for our 90-90 stuff. Okay? So once I do that, I'm sitting on top of my my towel. This leg is a leg that's going to be moving, okay? This is the leg that's going to stay straight, at least for the time being. So with the saddle position now, instead of it being out to the side, you're now going to take that leg and you're going to try to tuck it underneath your butt, or get it as close to your butt as possible. So I'll show this kind of from a side angle. So I'm trying to get my foot to be flat up against the ground and my leg kind of tucked inward under directly my quad. Once you get close, or once you get far, it's going to be really uncomfortable because you're going to feel all this start to pull, okay? So the other leg still stays straight. You might even have to get an additional pillow or something if you need to lift up a little higher. But it can be quite uncomfortable. So just take that into consideration. If it's just way too much, just bring your leg as close as you can and just leave it. That's it. If you can't get it all the way underneath, that's fine. You'll still get a stretch for this, okay? So set yourself up here. We're gonna hold this position for a minute, and our torso, right? So instead of just kind of staying upright, we're actually gonna be putting our hands behind us, and I'm gonna be leaning backward, right? So you can kind of spread your hands a little bit, and the further down you go towards the floor, the more stretch you are gonna feel, okay? So you can stay up tall where it's not too intense, but the further down I try to go, you'll definitely start to feel it, okay? So I put the clock on. We got a minute to hold it for this side. So find whatever position you're comfortable with and just kind of sit into the stretch and breathe. It shouldn't be excruciating pain, right? It shouldn't be any sharp kind of stabbing pains. It should be kind of a dull ache-ish. So obviously adjust your foot if you need to, depending on how it feels. All right, but just let your head kind of drop back and relax as much as we can relax. You got 20 seconds for this side. But this is a major quad stretch here. Three, two, one. We're gonna lift back up. Just gently lean to the side of the straight leg and then bring that leg out in front. Okay, so take your time kind of extending, and we're gonna just shift our weight and move the towel if you need to the other cheek basically, and then set your leg up on the opposite side. Same thing, try to tuck it underneath as much as possible. If obviously you can't, just have it to the side as close to your quad as possible. All right, here we go. We got a minute here. 3, 2, 1. Lean back, find that position, and relax. Deep breaths in this position. Twenty seconds. Three, two, one, and relax. Good. So swing that leg forward again. Take a quick second. Now, this last one, if you can kind of see where I'm going here, we're going to shoot for a full saddle, okay? So we saw what the half saddle was. That's one leg bent back, the other leg is straight. The full saddle is where we have both legs back, okay? So just like Like I said, if you need an extra pillow or an extra towel to lift up your butt a little bit, that would help, depending on how it feels. But we're basically going to set ourselves up with both legs. So this will take a little finessing. So bend the knees, try to sit. If you can find that position, I'll turn towards you for this time. Having that towel underneath, if you can get the feet underneath the legs, and we're gonna lean back, okay? So this one is a minute also. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Lean yourself back. Big quad stretch. Ten seconds. Three, two, one, and relax. Gently come out of that saddle position. Oh, we're gonna sit down on our bottoms. So sit on your butt. We're almost done. Got a couple minutes left. So legs are going to be straight. We're going to do a regular forward fold, okay? So this one is basically like a recovery position after all that saddle stuff. So feet are going to be flexed. Legs are going to be straight. All we're going to do is just kind of press forward like we did with our V-sit. We're going to come down. I'm going to reach for my ankles or my feet or calves or whatever. And we're just going to hold for 30 seconds. So nothing fancy on this one. Just 30 seconds, okay? 3, 2, 1, clock's on. Just bring yourself down. Tuck the head through the arms. 30 seconds. Come on up. So last two positions we're gonna do is our crossover and our happy baby. Happy baby, everybody loves that one. So the crossover, which they actually call something else, it's basically a supine twist, right? So we're gonna be laying on the ground. Arms are gonna be out, right? Out into my T position. And I'm gonna lift and bring over one leg. But from here, I'm going to grab it with my hand, okay? So we're going to take the leg and we're just going to bring it over. But I want to keep my chest, or I want to keep my shoulders and my arm on the ground, right? So I'm not lifting up as I grab the leg on this side. So I want to keep everything down flat. We're going to hold it for a minute on each side. So pull that knee up towards, you can pull it up pretty high, right? So have the arm out to the side. Shoulders still in contact with the floor. The clock is already on. We got a minute to hold here, and then we'll do a minute on the other side, and then a minute to finish our happy baby. Fifteen seconds. Three, two, one, and switch. So reset yourself. Swing that opposite leg over. Grab with the hand. Shoulders and arm on the opposite side should still be flat up against the floor. 1 minute hold. Fifteen seconds. Three, two, one. We're gonna finish off with our happy baby stretch. So I'm gonna stay on my back. I'm gonna lift up both feet. I'm gonna grab my feet, right? So somewhere the balls of my feet here. I'm gonna just kind of press my knees out to the side, opening the legs. And we're gonna just sit here for our final minute. You can kind of gently rock back and forth. That helps a little bit if your lower back is a little tender. And we're gonna hang out here. Seconds, guys. Three, two, one, and relax. And that's it. We made it. Torture is over. Good job, everybody. That was great.